Well, good day and welcome, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Rob Ouellette, and I'm going to be sharing with you something that's really going to connect all of us together in a way that you were not expecting. Something I have to clear up, and in the meantime, it's a very life learning lesson that we all can share in. And I know you're going to know what I mean when I start to explain. And before we begin, I want to thank our sponsor for today's video. That's right, I have a sponsor. But that sponsor happens to be me, myself, and not for this channel. I have another channel that I want to talk to you about. I got a lot of things going on in this channel, and the reason why I kept it that way is because in some form they all connect with each other. But my other channel that I have, that's right, I have another channel that's really not related to this, and it doesn't belong here at all, but it is more fun actually, and I could use a lot more viewers if you like what I bring to you, and that is Tang's Movie Review. Actually, it's kind of like a movie vibes. That's where I connect. It's the vibes of everything, and over there I have videos that I review regularly about all the big movies that are coming out into the movie theaters, with the intent to share with you my thoughts on those movies and to help you decide whether or not you would be interested in spending your money, because going to the movie theaters can be quite expensive, and if you're a movie lover like me, you go all the time, and it really racks up on your wallet if you happen to go all the time and spend the money on all the popcorn and pop and then all that jazz. So please join me if you're ever interested in knowing what a movie is like before you go to see it or decide whether or not you're going to see it or not. Check out my channel, check out my review. I'll be happy to see you there. Enjoy film and enjoy life. And that's what it's all about, enjoying life. So back to my regular channel here, and you'll see that I enjoy life in many different ways. I'm very eclectic in what I like in life and what I like to do for enjoyment. And going to the movie theaters is one of those. And believe it or not, personally, I love mixed martial arts. I love MMA, and I love watching the UFC, for example. So these are the things that, are counterbalances to what I offer here. So if you think that I am just a one note person with the whole mindfulness and all this calmness and what we get from this channel, the vibes of positivity, and I joke because I have piranhas in a tank, I have a German Shepherd, and I have a Bengal cat, which are all three aggressive type animals, which I feel fulfill that other aggressiveness, to that positivity, and I mash them together. That's my balance in life, and I really enjoy that. And so another aspect of me that I need to share with you, and that I think you're going to connect, is again this idea that when we are always trying to achieve enlightenment, when we're trying to achieve a positive perspective on all things, and I have a lot of videos here that will help guide you to get to those points. But the misconception is that somehow I don't go through struggles and pain. And more importantly, what I want to talk about today is how certain events in our lives change us in a dramatic way. And we're hoping that, through some insight, that we can take those experiences and strengthen our character and become stronger in who we are, and to become a better version of who we are. And sometimes it just takes that big hit to the gut that makes you realize certain things that are important in your life. So my experiences are going to be different than yours, but the concept is still the same. We take certain experiences, we look at it in a different way, and it makes us change. So it's that what I'm talking about. these events that change us completely, well, maybe not completely, but to a great extent. It kind of boosts us up. So imagine like a graph where you're constantly becoming a new version of yourself, right? And you are gradually becoming a better version. And let's hope that you are becoming a better version of yourself all the time. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we might know somebody who's become worse as they experience life, as they get older. And some people get stuck in their ways at a certain age, and they just stay there, and they don't grow very much at all. But sometimes we get a leap, almost like a stair. We're going, or maybe we're even stagnant, and then all of a sudden life kicks us in the gut, and then through these hard times we grow, and that's it. We've skipped the line almost. We've learned something that is far important, that has elevated our perspective on life and who we are, and all kinds of things like that. And it's very important if that happens to you. And so it happens. And it happens to me. And it happened to me. It happened to me recently. And that's kind of what I'm getting into. That, life is good. You challenge yourself. And you look at life in a positive way, knowing that somehow life is going to give you a bit of a twist. You almost wait for it and anticipate for it. But then when it happens to you, you're not sure you're prepared. Well, this is what happens in our lives. We have a little bit of a circle, right? We find that living in our lives, we're kind of repeating a certain cycle over and over again. And for the most part, it's by design. This is what we want. We don't want too much drastic change in our life. And again, if we're going to improve, we want to do it at our own pace. We want to go up and up and up and up without too much damage, without too much sacrifice. We want to do it at our own pace. And so we go round and round and round, experiencing life over and over and over again with all of its challenges. And for the most part, we can handle those challenges. And then once in a while, life throws us a curve. And for example, maybe if you own a car, your car breaks down. That sucks. And you have to find a way to overcome that. That's not even the gut. That's not even the punch in the gut sometimes. Well, for some of you, that might be the punch in the gut. For some of you, you're getting punched all over the place, and then you get that one thing that just kind of like really drives the nail through the heart, and you are in a lot of pain and suffering. That causes that change for you to grow. But maybe the birth of your child, maybe that happy moment in your life changes who you are. Yes, it makes you a parent. And now you're going to have to deal with all of the struggles that come to parenthood. And you go from being a non-parent, which is a way of life, to now a way of life of you are a parent, which is life-changing. Now, could be the death of a loved one. And for some, that is a big change. Now, for me, I lost my parents years back, and I thought my parents were indestructible. Now, I knew they weren't. And I had mentally prepared for my parents to die, especially my mom. My mom was the rock of the family. You know what I mean about the rock of the family? I've seen a lot of deaths, not just with my family members, but I have friends who passed away. And they were all moments of sadness that I gone through. But none of them were life-changing until, the death of your parents. Believe it or not, in my story, my parents passed away 4 months from each other. And so they weren't even related deaths. It wasn't like a car accident or an accident of any kind. It was just my father passed away, and then maybe my mom had a broken heart. That's what I call it. And then she passed away. So in life, these things happen, and then it changes you a lot. And so, you know, um, I was always a good person. I feel like in my life I grew up, but I grew up in a challenging neighborhood where there was a lot of bad folks around. There was bad kids that I grew up with, people fighting, like literally combat fighting each other, and there was stealing and swearing and smoking, depending, choose the time and era of my life. I had to there were different challenges with how badass my friends would be, and I tried not to go in those directions, which also put me in a position of weakness because they just pointed at me and chose to pick on me. They kept me around as their friend, but that's the guy we pick on. And so I lived my life like that for a good extent. But it wasn't until 20 years ago when I was part of a group. And in that group, it was more of a business group, so it's not very exciting. But in this business group that I was in, we were introduced to things like science and spirituality at the same time. And that's when I discovered things like quantum physics, which was like encompassed with the spirituality, and putting it together just opened my eyes and did so many things. And then I also explored more religious aspects. I grew up a Catholic, and then I started to explore other religions, not because I was fed up with being a Catholic, but because I was starting to understand that all these other religions had a connection with each other. And that's when my eyes started to open. And of course, putting my experience with body language and profiling and how people behave, people's behavior, mixed in with religion, mixed in with science, I exploded into something completely different. And from there I grew, and over the next 20 years, continuing on as a teacher and trying to connect with others and doing meditation and mindfulness and even doing these channels. Boy, I could just imagine what I was like my first videos doing YouTube.
Take it in and concentrate on it as it goes in through your lungs. You don't know the experience that anybody else has, so therefore I don't need to judge you. This is going to be a little bit more focused towards the body, mind, and spirit, which will, the byproduct of that is what's going to change you and your surroundings.
That person there, who was a good guy, by the way, it's different than who I am today, but that guy there, how would he love to approach the 20-year-old version of himself, and just show that 20-year-old person all these wonderful things he knew. And like, if you only knew, just to share that conversation and explore a lot of things. As I look at myself now, 47, to sort of wish I can talk to that Rob Willett version who was starting those videos. Wow, we've come a long way. We come a long way with how we think even. We've expanded upon what I was teaching. We've changed the way we look. It changed the way we breathe. It changes the way I teach and interact with others. It's all changed. And so, then we get to an event that happened last year. And, physical fitness was part of my regiment up until this moment, and continuing on with everything that I do. And then I received a gut punch. A really big one as well. And that set me on a course of having to be challenged with my space, how I am within my space, how I have to still be positive without getting angry at the world, as I started to notice more and more and more the toxicity of others in the world through my everyday experience, my experiences online. And that is going to be part of a video that I am going to explore further, because the things that I have learned are worth sharing. And you're going to want to hear that, because I think we all could learn some lessons from that. What happened to me throughout these past many months? I hit this wall. I'm going up and I'm going up, and then bam, I hit this wall. And this wall, if you're looking, this wall was tall. This wall was a challenge, and I didn't like it. I was grumpy. And I got off the bandwagon of my physical fitness, and also kept me from this channel. But in order to get over this, I had to really find my way up. And this is the steps that I'm talking about. You see, boom. And where do I stand today? I stand much stronger, was not expecting to become the person that I am today. Wasn't expecting that level change in me. And I could have went down, but I didn't. I went up. And that was a great thing. I would be willing to bet that that's happened to you at least once in your life. And a good chance that it will happen to you at least once more. So that's what I'm sharing with you today. I want you to see that, well, first off, this idea that anyone, can who preaches about positivity and good in life, also does end up struggling. I have other videos where I talk about manifesting the good in your life, manifesting things in your life. And I truly still not only believe that, because I actually see this in action. Now, it doesn't work like I want that awesome, cool car to show up in my driveway tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. But for the most part, we can manifest things in our favor and go down a path of positivity in our own lives. But that didn't stop life from throwing a curve at me, to which I had to again grow. So, with respect, I will not get into the event that happened to me. That is private, and it will remain that way, as it should. And what happens to you in your life, you don't need to share that with others as well, unless you're reaching out for help and you want to, you'll need to talk to somebody. But in my case, I had backup. In my case, I have support. And I was able throughout my life to grow a community of people who are very supportive. So in one way or another, I have people in my life. So, if you don't have that in you, please reach out. Try to grow that in your life. Try to just look around to see, do you have a network of positive people in your life? Some of us are surrounded by so many negative people. It's worth finding that one person who can just help you through things. And so, anyway, please grow with me on this channel. So if this channel is not exactly what you were expecting, say you came here for some sewing tips and things like that, so for some inspiration, and then boom, I'm throwing things like this conversation at you, then perhaps embrace that and stay, I want to thank you for sticking around and being a part of this community. But that's what this community offers. It's so much more than what you were expecting. And I thank you for that. And you guys are a part of that support group too. And that's why I would love to see a lot of likes here on this channel. I connect with you with my thank you and gratitude, and I would love for you to share that as well. So until next time, and there will be a next time, take care. Enjoy life. Take care. And I wish you well.